Everyone saw him as a beggar, but no one knew that one small change in his thinking would turn his life into a lesson for thousands. This is not just a story about poverty, it is a story about mindset. On the edge of a busy marketplace, where horns never slept and people rushed like time was chasing them, lived an old beggar named Raman. Every morning, before the shops opened, Raman would sit near a broken streetlight with a torn cloth bag and a small bowl. His clothes were dusty, his beard untrimmed, and his eyes carried a tired sadness. People passed him every day. Some dropped coins without looking. Some ignored him completely. Others whispered, "He's been here for years. He will never change." And Raman believed them. He believed life had already decided his fate. "I was born poor," he often muttered to himself. "I will die poor." Each evening, when the market lights dimmed, Raman counted his coins, just enough to survive. No dreams, no hope, only routine. One rainy afternoon, when the crowd was thinner than usual, Raman noticed a man standing nearby. He was well-dressed but simple, holding an umbrella and watching people instead of rushing with them. After a while, the man walked up and placed a coin in Raman's bowl. "Thank you," Raman said automatically. The man didn't leave. "Tell me," the stranger asked gently, "how long have you been sitting here?" Raman looked up, surprised. 20 years, he replied. "And in 20 years," the man asked, "has anything changed?" Raman laughed bitterly. "What can change for someone like me?" The man nodded slowly. "That's an interesting answer." Before Raman could ask more, the man pointed to a small wooden board lying beside him. "What is written on that board?" Raman glanced at it. The words were faded but familiar. "Blind from birth, please help." The man smiled softly. "Are you blind?" Raman shook his head. "No, sir." "Then why does the board say that?" Raman sighed. "Because people give more money when they feel pity." The man stayed silent for a moment, then said, "Tomorrow, change the words." Raman frowned. "Change them to what?" The man looked into Raman's eyes and said, "Write the truth, but write it with a different mindset." Before Raman could respond, the man walked away into the rain. That night, Raman couldn't sleep. The words "different mindset" echoed in his head. He had always believed survival required tricks, pity, and excuses. But what if, just what if, the stranger was right? The next morning, Raman cleaned the board as best he could and wrote new words with a borrowed marker. "It's a beautiful day, but I have nothing. Can you help?" He felt foolish. "No one will give me anything," he thought. As the day went on, something strange happened. People slowed down. Some read the board twice. Some looked at the sky, then at Raman. A woman stopped and placed a note instead of a coin. A shopkeeper brought him tea. A child smiled at him before dropping money into the bowl. By evening, Raman's bowl was heavier than it had been in years. Not because he lied, but because he spoke differently. Days passed. Raman kept the same words on the board. He started sitting upright. He began greeting people with confidence instead of shame. Slowly, something inside him changed. One evening, the same stranger returned. "You look different," the man said. Raman smiled. "I feel different." The man asked, "Did the words change your life?" Raman shook his head thoughtfully. "No, changing my thinking did." Encouraged, Raman began helping a tea seller clean cups in the mornings in exchange for food. Later, he learned small tasks. He saved money instead of spending it all at once. Months passed, and Raman no longer sat at the streetlight all day. People who once ignored him now greeted him with respect. Years later, the beggar disappeared from the corner. In his place stood a small stall selling tea. When asked how his life changed, Raman would smile and say, "The world didn't change for me, I changed for the world." Your situation does not define your destiny. Your mindset does. You may feel stuck, you may feel helpless, but the moment you stop asking for pity and start believing in possibility, life responds. Change your mindset, and your life will change.